Hi guys, welcome back to Piston Malaysia. In this video, I have with me the new W223 Mercedes-Benz S580e. Now there's a lot of misconception out there that says that to appreciate this car, you actually have to be driven in it. Well, I've spent the last couple of days actually driving this car, looking very much like a chauffeur. And I'll tell you this, that this is a car you can actually appreciate driving and appreciate being driven in. If I have your attention up to this point, do consider subscribing to our channel so that we can continue to bring you more awesome videos. For now though, hang on and I'll tell you why this is such an awesome car to drive and to be driven in. Part of what makes the new Mercedes-Benz S580e such an awesome driver's car is this, the power plant, the very heart of the car. So this is actually a 3-litre turbocharged straight 6 engine. When was the last time you heard of a straight 6-cylinder engine, guys? So this is a hark back to traditional Mercedes-Benz engines. Also, it's the same engine that powers the petrol version of the S580, but that's a different story. So anyway, it produces about 367 PS and 500 Newton meters of torque by itself, which is actually plenty. But that doesn't make it a driver's car. There are a lot of cars that produce that kind of power anyway. So what happens is, somewhere at the back, there's an electric motor that gives you an additional 150 PS and 440 Newton meters of torque. Now this is where things get interesting, because it gives you guys a combined power output of 510 PS and 750 Newton meters of torque. Why is that a big deal? Well, simply because that's the same power output that a Mercedes-Benz C63S AMG gives you. And we all know what the C63S can do. So imagine this, that same power figure in the S-Class. So this is a car that weighs over 2 tons. It's a behemoth, right? And yet it can do the 0 to 100 in 5.2 seconds. Imagine that. And of course, top speed is limited to 250 km/h. But anyway, this is very much what makes this S-Class a proper driver's car. Now let's go explore. But before we go about talking about how great of a driver's car it is, let's talk a little bit about the design. I always say design is subjective, love it or hate it. It's actually a very handsome design, and it sports the new mega wide grille with all these radar controls on board as well. It's a very elegant looking car. There's nothing sporty about it, which is actually not a bad thing. Of course, you get the Mercedes-Benz LED digital lights. These are amazing, and they're smart lights, right? So they automatically dim down, get brighter. They even brighten street signals. They illuminate street signals. So these are great. They work a treat, seriously. And then you get this additional cameras and radar systems on board here. To the side, you have to check this out. So this is how you lock it. And this is how you open it. So this is quite cool. It sits flush with the body. That's amazing. Nothing new, if I'm not mistaken. There are some other cars that have it as well. I can't quite remember right now. If you come to the back, let me unlock it so I can show you other stuff. You get 19-inch wheels wrapped in Hankook rubber. They're actually quite Hankook. I thought Hankook was quite a weird choice of rubber, but they're very quiet. They're very silent tires. So these are great. And then over here you get your charging point. So this is where the design gets sort of boring actually, because all the new C-Class, E-Class, CLS and even the S-Class have the same rear design, which I thought was a bit of a bummer, especially for the S-Class. They should have at least made that a little unique. Of course, you get mega boot, but this is a hybrid, so you get batteries underneath it, so the boot is not actually that big. Yeah, not that big at all. Listen to this, yeah? So I thought that was quite noisy for the boot of an S-Class. Now let's go check out the interior. Now imagine that you're walking towards your S-Class and you're about to get in, and the S-Class greets you by popping open the door handles even before you get to the car. And if you've not been in your car for a while, it'll automatically cool down the cabin as the air conditioning system turns on automatically when it detects that you're walking towards the car. Amazing stuff. So guys, the back seat of the Mercedes-Benz S-Class is probably where most of the action for an S-Class actually happens, right? This is the boss seat, as they call it. The left-hand seat is always the boss seat. It has the most amount of legroom and it has the most amount of features, which I'll get to shortly. But this S580e that we get in Malaysia is actually known as the V223 model rather than the W223 model, because this is actually the long wheelbase model that we are getting here, and it's actually assembled in Malaysia as well, making it probably the most advanced car that is currently assembled in Malaysia. So this seat is the boss seat. Everything happens over here. But before we get to that, I would just like to show you the type of toys that you get back here. So you get to adjust the navigation, you get to tell your driver where you want to go, you get to access your phone, you get radio controls. Of course, if you don't want to listen to regular radio, you have your onboard systems such as Bluetooth. You get wireless Apple connectivity, Apple CarPlay, and that you even get to know how much battery is left in your car. Now, everything about your car is actually available here. And then you get other settings. Ambient light settings is now more advanced than ever. And if you can see these blue strips over here, you can change this color too in 64 different colors. See, it's blue now. Let's change it to jungle green and chrome shine. Malibu sunset is what Mercedes calls it. And that's amazing. And the reason why it's visible during the daytime is that previously Mercedes-Benz only used to use, if I'm not mistaken, about 40 or 45 LEDs. But right now Mercedes-Benz uses 250 LEDs all around the car. So that's why it's so obvious even during a bright day like today. That's amazing. And then you get, of course, your seat settings. And this is what I really like the most. You get 7 different massage functions. You got a hot relaxing back massage, a shoulder massage, a mobilizing massage, an activating massage, a classic massage, a wave massage. I'm not sure what each of those do, but it's fantastic to be able to have such options. And besides your home, besides your office, this is probably the seat where you spend the most amount of time in. So this is absolutely fantastic place to be in. And now, I would like to demonstrate how you get more space over here. This is, of course, like I said, the boss seat. So from here, press this seat, and I can adjust. I can give myself more leg room over here. Look. So this is fantastic. I'm about 6 feet tall, and just look at the amount of leg space I have over here. Absolutely brilliant. And if you just would like to use your S-Class as a family car as well, you can, because the back seat of this S-Class is actually a bench for 3 people. You can sit 3 people over here, and all of them have individual seat belts. Talking about seat belts, check out the double stitched seat belt that I have over here. Check out how thick it is. That's because it actually has a seatbelt airbag. That's brilliant. And the new S580e is also the first car in the world to have airbags built into the front. Over here you can see that it says airbag right here. So it's also the first car in the world to have airbags built into the back of the front seats. So fantastic. And before I check this out, I even have my own tablet. It's a Samsung tablet. and this gives me access to the onboard functions that lets me access things like the radio settings, the air conditioning settings, all of this, because right now it's just way too far. And why would I want to do something as inelegant as, you know, reaching out forward when I can just take out the tablet and access everything? So this is absolutely fantastic. Mercedes-Benz truly does think about everything. And so of course you get your cup holders here, so I can wind that away. And right now I've turned this into a very comfortable 5-seater. So this is perfect for a family, and makes this car the perfect car to either be driven in or to actually drive with your family as well. So this pillow that you get here at the back here, guys, this is also heated. You can also adjust whether you want just your shoulders to be heated or just the pillow to be heated also. Of course, we probably won't use the heating function in Malaysia, but in case you wanted to, you actually can. And just such a nice place to be in. You get a Burmester 3D sound system. This is not the top of the line Burmester sound system, but still you get about 16 speakers in this car and about 750 watts of audio power, which is fantastic. It's a banging sound system, there's no doubt about it. And nice. It's such a nice place, such a beautiful place to be in. Fantastic experience to be actually driven in an S-Class in an S580e. Now let's find out how it is to drive. Now the interior of the new Mercedes-Benz S-Class is seriously such a brilliant place to be in. I haven't even started the car, guys, but the air conditioning is already blowing because it detected that I'm walking towards the car, and it has cooled down the interior before I even got in. But let's start the engine. And there are a lot of things to love about the interior of the new S-Class. So let's first talk about the things that I do not quite like, actually, such as this massive piano black piece over here. As you can see, it's picking up on all the dust, all the fingerprints, and it'll scratch very easily. I just don't like it. It doesn't do anything for me, and I don't appreciate it. Likewise, you get these piano black inserts over here as well, which reflect quite badly when you're driving and the sun is just right on top of you. It will really blind you when the sun's really out there glaring. The other thing that I do not quite appreciate about the S-Class is the steering wheel, because this is, if I'm not mistaken, the same steering wheel that you find even in the C200. But other than that though, there's nothing else about the interior that I don't like. Everything else is spot on. It's brilliant, and it feels very, very expensive in here. It's such a nice place to be in. Also, entirely dominating the interior of the S-Class is this massive 12-inch screen. It's a second generation of the MBUX entertainment system, onboard systems, and everything from, it houses your navigation, your phone, radio, media applications, your comfort settings, your seat kinetics. All your seat settings are also in here. Other settings as well, such as your onboard lighting, all your active lane keep assist. Everything is basically accessible through this screen over here, and even your air conditioning settings are over here, which is a little distracting, but if you notice that no matter what you do, the air conditioning settings are never hidden away. So that's great actually, because it takes some getting used to, but it's never too deep into the system. It's still just a one-step process. And if you notice, the MBUX screen is split into 3 sections. On top here you have your navigation, your controls, and then your air conditioning settings over here. So over here, another 12.3 inch or 12 point something inch screen. This is basically all your instrument clusters. So right now your RPM, your charge range, your speedometer, everything, you can of course change this into different views depending on your mood. Even sports mode. Now this has a very nice 3D sort of effect going on, so you can actually see the depth in there. So that's a very nice touch actually, and we didn't expect anything lesser of an S-Class. So brilliant. Now let's see how it drives. The thing about Mercedes-Benzes is that no matter whether it's a limousine, an executive limousine, or an AMG model or anything of that sort, they're actually very nice cars to drive. And as I said earlier, up ahead we have a powertrain that produces as much power as the C63 AMG, which is amazing for an S-Class. But before we get into the power, actually, it's a very comfortable, very quiet interior in here. And Mercedes, there were some cases where people were getting car sick in here because it was just, their senses couldn't keep up, because they would look outside and everything is moving, but their ears and the body wasn't feeling the vibrations, they weren't hearing the engine noises. So it's actually quite easy to get nauseated in here. And if you're the type that doesn't like to be driven, like me, actually I do not like to be driven, then you might have some problems in here. But it's an absolutely surreal experience. Right now we are driving an electric power. Electric power gives you a range of 100 kilometers. 100 kilometers a day is actually 100 kilometer range is actually really, really good. And if you're just limiting yourself to an urban setting, urban environment, there's a very good chance that you're not going to be doing 100 kilometers a day. So technically, you can spend, if you charge this car every day, technically you can run this car without using a single drop of petrol, which is a very interesting fact actually. And then you get different driving modes. You press this button here that says dynamic. You press this button and you get different driving modes. This is full whole battery mode. So right now you're just driving 100% without electric power, so you're using the engine alone. And then this is on electric mode, so the engine turns off, and you have hybrid mode, sport mode, and individual. So sport mode is where things get very interesting. So they come with so the suspension stiffens up, the steering wheel gets a bit heavier, and the response, 715 Newton meters of torque, makes this a very interesting car to drive actually. And so this is a very fun car to drive, and because the suspension actually keeps up with the car, you get a very engaging driving experience. Of course, it's a little surreal in here because you don't really hear much, but when you're in sport mode, you hear a little growl from that 3-liter engine. Hear this. So you hear that growl from that 3-liter engine. I suspect that is not the real engine noise. It's piped in through the speakers. So it's you find it hard to believe that something so big, this is a car that weighs 2.4 tons, and yet it can do the 0 to 100 in 5.2 seconds. Again, I just got to experience it. Wow, just wow. So you don't expect such a big lumbering car to be able to do such awesome, to offer such awesome performance actually. And that's what makes this car such an amazing driver's car as well. This is a car that is both worlds. It perfectly balances both worlds. It's a car that can be driven and you can be chauffeur driven. So that's then guys. the new Mercedes-Benz S580e. I've shown you that it's actually a very fun car to drive as well, with monstrous power figures that rival the AMG models, and it's also a very nice car to be driven in. So a perfect balance of driving your family out on weekdays and being driven to office on the weekends. It's a very fine balance of both worlds. The Mercedes-Benz S580e is now in Malaysia for little under 700,000 ringgit, which, if you ask me, is a steal because of the way it feels, the way it drives. It feels like it should be at least twice that price. A steal at that price, at a little under 700,000, is it a steal? Most definitely. Check it out at your favorite Mercedes-Benz showroom. Thank you for watching. I'm Keshi Dillon and this is Pista Malaysia.